Oh man, what a day. What a day, what a day, what a day. I usually have someone who tells me what the date is, and unfortunately, he's not here. I have to rely on someone else to actually do that for me. And that's probably why we're
I'm
running late.
back.
That's probably why we're running late as well.
Yes, of
Because the
course.
timekeeper's not here.
Timekeeper's not here. The strict boss is not here.
Mm-hmm.
Someone who always keeps his time management and make sure that we are being on point as far as time is concerned.
Wow.
Yeah, but hey, we're
What a
gonna try and keep the ship moving, right?
mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't know.
yeah.
Like you guys always leave me on in the lurch because it
You
was
are
you, the previous episode. Now it's Cisa, and I still
you
have
are
to
the
be here.
common denominators, like so you are the you understand, like you
Mm.
are the one that keeps this family together. You are the glue here.
I'm just waiting for my lotto money, and the day that arrives, I'm gonna leave you guys in a lurch. I'll be calling from
Oh,
Mauritius or wherever or
oh
Bali or
please.
wherever people go these
Sicela
days.
uhamba nawe. Sicela uhamba
Oh,
nawe ebhasini.
but then again, somebody's been away for quite some time. Before we get on to any and everything,
Yeah, yeah.
somebody's been away. And in fact, in
Yes.
the country as well, there's just been a lot. Let's start there before we get
Yeah,
to you.
sure, sure.
There's been a
And
lot
there's
happening in the country.
been a lot happening in the country, but the main thing that's been happening that I've been kind of like following is the snow
Oh,
issue, the weather crisis that has just kind of like struck us, right?
did you guys go there? Like, I don't know, like Eastern Cape people, there are people that have been omnye esepai. The next thing, dibana nayo, uphosa snow.
People actually got excited and drove to, which is crazy because some people were actually stuck and needing help, and then
Hmm.
abanye abantu baya phayana. So it's a bit of a it's a bit of a crazy situation, but people were stuck like Saturday. I think the whole country, we all experienced, just a little bit of an unusual cold weather, and there
Mm.
was snow that was falling around KZN side. And in actual fact, there were road closure because it was such a heavy snow that has ever fallen in our country. You know, it was declared that it was a bit unusual. So a lot of
Yeah.
people were stuck. I think between Johannesburg, people that were traveling between Johannesburg and going to KZN side actually got stuck on the road, literally. And it became very in Zautina, serious because they
Very
actually could
serious.
not move. It became very serious because they could not move and they were there. People were stuck for I think the whole of Saturday and a bit of
It was
Sunday as
2 days.
well. Kwafuneka kude kukhutshwe i-rescue teams to try and clear out the snow on the road. And some people obviously imoto zanikezela because they were trying to keep warm.
Sawuthini mfo ndineemoto zethu ezindala like silindele phi into ne-snow phakathi like
you
really?
know so I mean it was just crazy. And then like I said, but then on the other side kukho abantu who are just kind of like excited about this whole thing. They've never experienced snow, and so they got a chance to just experience that part. But it was a bit of it was a bit of a crisis, um,
Mm.
because things did come to a standstill as in Leni. And there were warnings that were given as well, for people to be careful and not drive out. And of course, this is South African. Sometimes we don't take warnings very seriously, and so
We don't.
we
You know,
don't.
for me, I feel hard done by as a radio person because I would like to believe that people listen to radio. I would like to believe that even the technology on radios, people can program
Yeah,
i-radio zabo mhlawumbi umuntu
yeah,
phambi koba ye eholideyini into yokubana
sure.
it doesn't matter noba kudlala isidi noba kudlala ntoni if zisekhona ndizochaza i-age noba zisekhona but during traffic that you assign on a
Some
particular
update.
station,
Yes, yes,
that update will come. And
yeah.
now First Lady, you know how much I've been picking this up on socials as well. How
Yes.
much I'm always hard on government and all of that stuff,
Yes.
and the fact that people were saying that like the South African government should have been far more ready.
Mm,
Yes, they could have done a lot more, but I
yeah.
think as a country, we are not used to snow. We've always had this, like, during the change of season or
Yes.
spring,
Yes.
but it
Yeah.
has not been this severe. And I
Yeah.
think it's for us to actually just take precaution when those things happen. And
Yeah.
I remember listening to the minister sharing that, like, even the South African National Defence Force helicopters
Yeah.
couldn't even fly to
Yeah.
go and
Yeah.
rescue people. That's how crazy it was. And that, I mean, like, it was the first time that it was happening in the country. And thank goodness that we didn't lose a
Yeah.
lot of lives. And
Yeah.
condolences to those two people.
Yeah.
I mean, like, to the family of those two people who passed on. I
Yeah.
think one was in a taxi or something.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, there
Yeah.
was a build
Mm.
up actually slides to this thing because I remember I was in Durban and the colleagues that were flying out on a Thursday had to return back. They were flying to East London.
No ways.
And the plane couldn't land in East London, so they had to go back to
Buhle
Durban.
Lindon when.
Kaloku ancestors guys are very much advanced, you know?
All
They were
right.
like, "Tell when are you not gonna go?" Because
Wow.
and I, for some reason I had another commitment in Durban, so that kept me ubana ndingahambi. But just how crazy. So I'm trying to talk about how there was a build up to this crisis. So already, people not being able to travel, seamlessly as they used to.
Mm.
And then sabe sesifika kule nto yesisnow, so it was a bit, for me, I think it was definitely a build up. And I think also people need to understand that, I mean, warnings when they are being given, obviously akuzothiwa sanuhamba, but kuyachaza into yobana be cautious, be mindful that things might get out of control. And I think there's not much government can do when it comes to disasters, because it's like a disaster land. You cannot plan into your weather by is about drastic to what level.
To what
And
level?
hence I
Yeah.
think, it's important to take the warning seriously. So I think sinayo into yobana sometimes we don't want to take warnings, especially when information is not being given in terms of certainty that you know akwazi uba sabangakana nesnow, but kukho i-warning ethi, there's going to be snow that's coming out, be careful. And then it turns out
Mm.
nyani that the level, because there was also reports that the level of the snow that actually fell was actually very high, very unusual.
Mm.
So I mean, how can you predict that?
I think, I mean, like, I feel for people that were traveling with children, because
Yes,
obviously
yes,
smart parents, they will always plan their leave around
yes,
when so I feel for those people. And I think right now, I mean, for anyone who's tuned in on our YouTube channel, the Slicer TV podcast, or the Facebook page,
yes,
please just if you experienced it, and I'm
yes,
not sure whether you can share your pictures as well, because one of the things we're, like, trying to get away from being sued by people using people's videos. And some of them were this one very beautiful video that I saw of South Africans coming together. I even put it on my Facebook page, to say that, given everything around South Africa, we always say, we were talking about the box, yeah, we always come together as a country when it's sports,
so,
and some people
so,
go to the box, black and white, and
mm,
then you don't find any whites.
mm,
And
yeah,
so now, during a moment of despair where everybody, like, came together, I remember there were a couple of guys who were pushing cars,
yes,
black,
yes,
white, and I think the Muslim community came through as well.
yes,
They were delivering food to the people,
yeah,
food and water,
yeah,
things that are necessary. And to think, in the middle of us trying to do these raids and try to get undocumented people out of the country, because we've never experienced that. But like now, if you take a foreigner, somebody who's from another country, who
Yes.
understands disaster, who
Yeah.
understands the first thing to do to give first
Yeah.
aid,
Yeah.
like the gift of the givers, for an example, do. But it was
Mm.
ordinary business people that were there. The Muslim community organized themselves, and they said that like they're going to offer aid and stuff. And I think it gave me a very interesting look at South Africa.
Yeah.
To think
Yeah.
that like in the very now, I know I'm digressing a bit.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about it, there have been the raids that were being
Yes.
conducted.
Yes.
Getting people who are in the country, without documentation and stuff.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
and to think that like during a disaster, the entire country, the people that come from different parts of the world who were
Yes.
in that situation, it was
Yes.
crazy.
I think it also just talks back to Indo Yobundu's, like at the end of the day, I think that, I always say, man, it's not true that Abuku Buntu Bantu. I think that, Musakono Buntu Bantu, and we see this in times like this where we forget, in the way nationality, we forget, deal with the issue, and let's help the other person that needs help. Let's do
Hmm.
that can be done. And I think that's the best thing that I'm proud of being a South African about, is that, South Africans in the middle of a crisis, they can put their they can put their quarrels aside, they can put their differences aside, and just focus on the matter right now.
Hmm.
Let's help, let's do whatever. And I think Ubuntu, we embody that. It's within us. Asikwazi uyekelana, asikwazi uyekela umuntu that is suffering. And I think that's the beauty of this country, really. It's about that. It's about exactly
I,
that.
I know we are tapping in to the Momo, where we
Yeah,
basically call on your
yeah,
professional advice and all.
yeah,
But like, what really happens in people, and
yeah,
to actually have that almost involuntary
yeah,
um,
yeah,
approach to
yeah,
helping other people out of danger. I mean, like,
yeah,
in the faculties, this best, like,
yeah.
to have that, to have empathy,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
all of
Empathy.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Can you
I
please
think
kumshare it
that's
just a little bit for me and
in a
us?
nutshell, it's like, I think what happens is, the minute kuko a crisis, the minute kuko is suffering that we see as a people, and I'm talking about now abantu, abaphilileyo, abantu who are conscious, and who are still very much in touch with reality.
Hmm.
Activate empathy, uvelwano,
Yes.
and that's a natural, instinctive, feeling that we all have, singabantu, and ibaluleke xa sithi singabantu abaphilileyo, that is, people who are still conscious, people who are still very much aware of what is reality. And
Mm.
so the minute the empathy gets activated, iyakususa into action. It moves you from being, passive to an active, mode. So you find yourself compelled, "Bana, mandenza something, mandimnike uSilama njengoba apha endlini, akho ngubo,
Mm.
what can we do?" You understand? And some people very far, they will be sending messages. I saw, man, on some TikToks, people just saying, "We're praying for you guys," being stuck there. And then I saw also some humor, yeah, as South Africans
Of
also.
course.
When we can't do anything, really, when we feel powerless, the other thing that we can do to lift each other is to tap into our humorous side, which is, keep the situation light. We're serious, but we want to make sure Esprit Zabantu are still, high. So
Mm.
we find ways to just, laugh about it, once we jokes about it. And I just love that. Again, that, proves in Dogbana, well, you know what? The world is not doomed. Our country is not doomed. We still have good people with good
You
hearts,
have
with
no
good.
idea.
You understand? It's
You
beautiful.
have no idea. You know how I walk, how skeptical I walk, and
Yeah. Yeah.
how I often call people
Yes.
out,
Yeah.
on stuff. And because I think, it's another reality, and I think like coming from an election like the one that we come from as a country, where
Yes,
now there's no outright. I'm gonna be blatant, like
majority.
I'm like,
Yes,
you
there's
know
no
um um um
party that we can
it
focus.
wasn't an outright ANC win, so that
Mm,
your government, there's a government of national unity. There was skepticism, there
yes,
were all of these things. But if you are gonna go and take, I think that guy's name is Leon,
mm,
I just forget his surname, the minister at Home Affairs,
yes,
when he came out and said that, like, we are going to fix the issue,
yes,
the backlog that Home Affairs had, which was sorted out like that, the things that were an issue for people like
for a
the
very
the
long
previous
time.
ministers, you know.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
this time around, it was like the urgency. And I think like South Africans have gotten to a point, and this is what I've always said. I said, these are people that have lived in apartheid, right? It's
yes,
different generations. It's a mix of
yes,
generations. Those ones
yes,
who experienced it, the
yes,
young kids who came into the democracy, who don't know any better.
yes,
Or who feel entitled. So everybody, for a very long time, people were pacified. People did
yes.
not know how to respond to crime. People did not know
Mm,
how to respond
mm,
to their jobs being taken.
mm, yes,
And having no word. So
yeah,
I think like the country, like, I mean, coming from a weekend like this, as disastrous as it was just a very interesting phenomenon to watch, to actually realize that South Africans
yeah.
love themselves and they love each other. It was a
And
very
yeah,
great one. Yeah.
it's beautiful to see.
Yeah, and I think like today we're gonna leave the what is that thing called, baby oil. um we're gonna leave like the whole Puff Daddy thing,
Jeez,
yeah,
man.
because we've
Oh
got
my
our
God.
own.
You know what? I think Masiyekele usisa because he might
I
definitely want to comment on that. Jeez, jeez, jeez.
I felt we missed, since obviously he's not here. And I
Yeah,
think like yeah, I think we did we apologize for it. He has a bereavement in the family.
yeah,
And yeah, so we allowed him, and earlier on we recorded his
yeah.
insets, and which we will use as a light moment,
Mm,
coming out of the Momo. We will do the
sure.
music review and the movie review after we've dealt with the Momo. But it's very interesting. I don't know if you know Dr. Umar, Pan Africanist, most educated. He's in your space,
Oh,
psychology space, is from the United States of America.
oh, yes, yes, yes.
He's,
I think I know it. I
yeah,
know him. So he loves Africa. He loves to talk about Africa a lot and about,
all the
South
time.
Africans.
Yeah. And he obviously had a view around a very interesting one, but because
Is
obviously there've
it?
been plenty. And he's
Mm,
saying that, like, I mean, like, the prosecutors in the Diddy case have closed evidence. So they are not outright, saying that, like, here, this is what is being
yes.
charged with. And
Yeah.
he feels that, like, there's something sinister there. And his whole view is that, and a whole lot of other people's views is like, this guy is as freaky as the guy who owned
Yeah.
what you call it, Playboy,
Yeah. Yeah.
Epstein.
Mm,
We've
mm,
had these people. So if you find a guy with 1,000 bottles of
mm.
baby oil, as weird as the damn thing is, um what are you really charging him with? But
Yes.
apparently
Yes.
the main charge is prostitution, trafficking,
Yes.
prostitution.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, so that's the main one, because he settled the issue with Ukesi outside on the day, and a lot more people came. So there's been a level of arrogance and all of that,
Yeah.
and it's just been a freaky guy. And he, unfortunately, he's at the helm of an entire culture.
Yeah.
So it sparks interest. So it's going to be very interesting to see how far that one goes.
I think it's so interesting in America because they've normalized a lot of things that are not normal. That's
That are
the
not
issue.
normal.
So there's blurred lines there, and and they sometimes struggle even themselves to define, Ubana, is this really been inappropriate behavior? Because they have normalized izinto that are not normal. They've normalized also to put even children in situations that they're not supposed to be putting children into. You know, so they don't know how to define child molestation. They don't know whether do we call this person a pedophile or not. You know, so for me, especially also the culture of hip hop and it means in Indo that has kind of like
Yeah.
normalized sexual behavior that is inappropriate,
Mm.
and sexualization of young children, boys and girls in America. So, and you see by these kind of cases coming up, when you see it's the problem, it's a culture, it's the rape culture, it's
Mm.
the misogynistic culture that comes up there, and that they need to deal with. And things like this will definitely be coming up more and more. They Basuka with R. Kelly, and this, of course, you know.
It was Bill Cosby.
Yeah,
You
Bill
you know
Cosby.
us.
Yeah,
Oh man,
yeah.
to the like for me, I don't want to lie. It hurts, right? Because we feed from the American culture. To
Yes.
think Bill Cosby was a model of a dad, you look at that guy and
Yeah.
you're like, yo, dad, like type of thing. And to move from there to go from him to go to R. Kelly, who remains in prison or not.
Mm,
I think, as someone said it, the king of rhythm and blues,
yes.
R&B.
Mm,
If you look at his body of work,
yeah.
um,
Yeah.
and very interesting stuff is that, like, the Cosby Show probably has a rerun somewhere, and the executives and the production companies are making money from that.
I mean, yes.
Robert Kelly's music, I was on
It's
Apple
still playing.
Music. It is
Yeah.
still playing. Now the
Mm,
question is, that guy is sitting in jail and he's going to be there for quite some time, and probably the same with Puffy as well.
yeah.
And these are people who've been able to shift the culture.
Yeah.
So obviously
Yeah.
psychologically that's going to mess up the people that you know
Yeah.
um so
The
is
followers
it
and
the
the fans.
demasculation? Is this
Yeah.
the emasculation? Is it what Kanye West talks about, that
Mm,
I warned these guys about Hollywood.
mm,
you know
yeah.
they are
Yeah.
going to make you rich, and the only way people can control you is if they give you money. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
You committed to your job
Yeah.
because you get
Yeah.
remuneration. So it's a very interesting one. But
We're
anyway,
gonna be watching. We're gonna be watching it very closely. Very
we're
closely.
definitely going to
Yeah.
be. And I think another thing that people can look forward to, in fact, I will announce it towards the end of the show, but very interesting stuff around the automotive space. You've seen a couple of videos that
Yeah.
I've had in the interviews and my interactions with it. There's some very interesting developments around that we are going to be talking about. We're going to be having chats with, like, industry leaders and captains of industry around all of these things. But now I think it's time for us to head over to the quiz.
Don't give up on your dreams. Don't give up on yourself. It can also be a developmental crisis issue. Keep pushing and stay the course. I love our intro song, guys. Hey, welcome to our Momo sessions. Listen, guys, honestly speaking, I just felt so bad one Dinishile last week. But you know what? You were in good hands. My guys got it, under control, and managed to also just make sure that asinishi completely, ninga kalanga. So today I thought about, look, it's towards the end of the year, and a lot of people start to become very cynical, very negative, and it's actually something that a lot of people don't necessarily consciously do. And I thought to myself, There's just been something that I've been noticing. Quite a few people who have a very wrong mentality and an approach to life, which is something that I always talk about, is victim mentality. I don't know if you've heard Mandase, and I want us to also do some introspection. So I'm going to ask you a few questions, and you can look within your circles, you can look within your family, your friends, your colleagues, people that you just interact with, and within yourself as well. Victim mentality is such a big problem that we have, just in our country, in our relationships. And I think sometimes, it becomes an issue that becomes a barrier in dealing with serious matters and in moving forward, finding solutions, or finding ways to keep going in life. So a lot of people, they get stuck in victim mentality. Some people, they know that they're using this mentality because there's benefits to being a victim, right, to playing the victim role. Some people don't know. Some people, it's a very unconscious thing that happens. So let's look at this. So I'm going to ask you just to do a quick check, okay? In order to see if are you playing the victim mentality game? Are you positioning yourself as a victim mentality in your relationships, or is someone around you always playing the victim all the time? Do you always blame others for how your life has turned out? I don't know, Sly, if you've heard those people, they always talk about, well, if abazali bam bengazange benza ngolu hlobo,
Mm.
or if my brothers didn't do this, if utata or if umama, and that's a very, very problematic way of thinking about your life, because essentially what you are saying is that how your life has turned out is entirely, dependent on how these people around you have acted or have positioned themselves, right? And so you are
Mm.
not taking accountability of what is your part when, in that. Yes, you might have grown up in a family where umama was not responsive emotionally, but what have you done when to deal with that and move forward with your life, right? So that's the first thing that you need to be asking yourself. Do you find that you blame others for how your life has turned out? Azange ndikwazi mna uya esikolweni because kaloku zange ndinikwe itshansi ekhaya, zange ndimfumane uNSFAS, so that's why ubomi bam bustuck. You understand? Do you believe that life is against you? That's another very important
Mm.
question to ask, because there are people that really believes like bana yo ubomi bam bungathi bune dark cloud, you know people that always feel ukuthi their life, they always have something a negative happening. There's always a crisis. There's always drama. There's always trauma that's happening. They start to believe really bana yo ndinelishwa mani mna, ubomi bam akho nto ihamba right ebomini bam, you know that could also be reason why you are stuck in a victim mentality, because of the constant traumas that you might have had to deal with in your life. Okay. Do you struggle to cope with life challenges, just daily life challenges? For example, sometimes you are just driving, and Fumani Subana, you are late, and then the traffic is just right, one of those days. And Ufman Subana, you're just frustrated. You cannot deal with the fact that, you know what, it's just a traffic jam. It's going to move at some point, and you're going to get to your destination. But Ufman Subana, someone else has a mental breakdown, and I'm not having a road rage because they are so frustrated with the fact that now they're stuck, and now it's somebody else's fault. Now they want to cut, omnye umtu, because they feel good, they have to move forward even though Ngumdu is stuck. So struggling to just deal with life challenges as they come on a daily basis, it's another sign that you are, having a victim mentality. Do you always approach life with a negative attitude? Such an important aspect of also of victim mentality, because victim mentality gets you stuck in negative thinking all the time. You always expect the worst. You always where now you always anticipate the worst thing. In this case, it could be that, if one of us were a victim mentality, is like we would say, well, you know what, masingayenzi le podcast, akekho kaloku, masingayenzi le session, akekho usisa today. What's the point? You
Mm.
understand? Or when I was not there last week, like, okay, guys, Andiko, imomo session is Wednesday. Oh my God. What if I get caught again? What's going to happen? You understand? It's
Mm.
always preempting and always putting forward the negative, outcome without even realizing, and life might actually surprise you and come up with a better solution. The last one is, do you feel that people are against you? People that have victim mentality together, the interesting part lies also, they always think that people are out to get them. I don't know
Mm.
where that comes from, but a lot of people that have a negative attitude towards life, they always think that abantu bahleli nje bathetha kakubi ngabo, or um uyandiplana usibani uba ndiyambona uba bayandiplana okanye bandiplanile, iplaniwe le nto. They have this paranoia, that I don't know where it comes from, but they always feel that people have bad intentions about them. And of course, this is not founded on facts, because it's a paranoid attitude, right? So they might not even know who's like, but just look at bana, oh, I'm so a chance. Haven't even spoken to a person, haven't even approached that particular person to talk to them and hear, "Baba ngathini na?" Maybe you have an idea that you want to put forward already. So umjonga nje ucinga bana, ndiyambona uthi engumntu unondinika i-chance to listen to. And those are the kind of things that you have to look at, Bandase, when you are checking yourself and checking the other people around victim mentality. And I'm raising this live because victim mentality, what it does is it is never gonna get you anywhere. It gets you stuck in this loop of negativity. You never take action for your life because you're always putting blame on others. So you never take accountability for your own part, in your own life story. It also, what it does is, victim mentality disempowers you actually. When you are embodying victim mentality, what you really are doing is you are giving your power away, right? So you are always left feeling powerless and helpless, and actually when you don't have anything that you can offer in relationships, or at work, because kaloku ungulo mntu that has, you have divorced yourself from your own natural power, or your innate power as a person. So it's very important that you challenge that belief, right? And I want to encourage you, if you are stuck, because sometimes, like I said, it's not an intentional thing. Sometimes it's just an unconscious thing, because life has been really unfair to you, and maybe life has been really, hard. And so you find yourself, what's the point of me applying? you know, that business has what's the point of me even attempting to do it? You are stuck in victim mentality. You are stuck in a negative loop. And so what you are doing is you are giving away your power. And that's something we need to guard against, and we need to fight that. And what you need to do to deal with this, Sly, I think, well, again, just to bring it back, is I would advise, obviously, sometimes because you have been experiencing traumatic things in your life, you might not have healed. So you are stuck, with this
Mm.
wound, and you need to get some help, and therapy can help you to find the healing that you need, so that you can be able to find ways to move forward. It could also be that what you need to do is you need to really do some serious introspection, because sometimes victim mentality, people use it as a way to manipulate others, so that abantu bazofeel sorry. You always
Mm-hmm.
want others to feel sorry for you. So that's something that you also need to work on. It's a character flaw that you need as a person to identify, acknowledge, and work on it. Awufunekanga ebomini uhleli nje ufuna usizelwa, all the time wena kusoloko kusizelwa wena, all the time wena, oh shame. It's a very, very wrong position to put yourself in, because it doesn't empower you, it actually disempowers you. So it's also something that you can do for yourself to try and work on. And how do you do that? By building your self-confidence. Empower yourself, find things that you can learn, a new skill that you can learn, associating with new people, or a group of people that think differently than the group that you have been, associating with for a very long time, in terms of changing mentality. Being adaptable also lies very important in that understanding. Things don't always go according to how we want them to. And so you have to let go sometimes of your plan, and let the plan that was meant to happen to take, full charge. That is, you have to be adaptable, be willing to sometimes take what you are being thrown into as the actual plan. So discard your plan that you had, uhambe nale ndawo ngoku ozibona ukuyo, and find your strength in that. So that's my message for tonight. Tap out. I want to encourage you, step out of the victim mentality. It does nothing for you. It does nothing for your relationships. It does nothing for your development and progression. What it does is it keeps you stuck. It keeps you depressed. It keeps you hopeless. It keeps you helpless, and it disempowers you. That's my story, and I'm sticking to that.
Wow. I feel so helpless right now. You've just
Like,
I'm stuck now. You've just
you stuck.
disempowered me.
You are very stuck.
You've just disempowered me with beautifully though, in a way that encourages. It's very interesting because like sometimes it's basically what we were talking about around the
Yeah.
weather. Is like
Yes.
in adversity when
Yes.
things are very hard, and
Yeah.
it's my firm belief, and it's very strange. I
Yeah.
don't know whether you can just quickly speak on that. Like,
Yeah.
what is it about pain that gives us so much strength, so much
Yeah.
power? Is it like ukuzincama, like Iguala? And you like, I'm really going
Yeah.
to do this. But like there seems to be a connection between pain and success,
Yes.
you know?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
sometimes, a person you'll be feeling sorry for all of this time. I mean, like losing your parents, as you say, and you're like,
Yes.
"Ba mama no tata bebesaphila," but like these
Mm.
people are no longer here. You need therapy, you need a
Yes.
manner of. But that adversity for some people, they shoot up.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know, like
And
just briefly.
so there's been a lot of studies around psychology, obviously, and adversity oftentimes leads people to actually do something and be successful. And if you look at prominent people, that have been successful, that we know have serious stories, traumatic stories to tell about their lives. But they found a way to bounce back. But one of the things that psychology says is when people are able to make meaning. Now, you must hear again what the words to make
Mm,
meaning out of, because remember, in meaning is not, you're not going to find it out of a situation. You must create it yourself. So
wow.
you have to be the one that decide what is the definition I'm going to give to this situation, to this circumstance, and that is going to equal to the opportunity of success that's going to come. And so that's what sets us apart, guess lies that when udada uyasweleka or now that I'm uyasweleka, you define it as, you know what, dad gave me foundation, zamenza proud.
Mm,
Or mna udada uyasweleka, and then I say dad has died, and so that means my life is ended.
mm.
You see, what
And it's
defining,
also could it be like you created a dependency.
yes,
You
yes,
could never
yes,
see or picture these
yes,
people not being here, giving me a stipend
exactly.
to or
Yeah.
to yeah.
So it's also what happens is we can only make meaning out of situations when we are able to separate ourselves from that. That is, we need to. There must be a gap between this situation and myself, so that I can be
Hmm.
able to see it as an outsider, right? Because when we are so like this in a situation,
Into
in immersed into a situation, we are not able to make that meaning that we're supposed to do. So what you find is that some people, because they're so codependent on their parent, they struggle to get to a point of making meaning out of the death of umzali, because they have never done what we call that healthy separation, you know
mm,
and so that you can be able to see when, yes, I've lost here, but something is happening in the loss and me, upper in between. The meaning needs to happen. And so, if you never make meaning of the situations in your life, what happens is, and this is what psychology talk about, but when your life is that doesn't have meaning, or situations that are happening in your life you don't find meaning in them, essentially what is happening is that your life become meaningless. That's where helplessness comes in, that's where hopelessness comes in, that's where depression comes in, because you don't define your situations, you let them be as they are,
Mm.
you know.
It's like, ah, wait,
It is our teen, it is our teen,
this is aram.
it is our
You
teen.
know, situations that you give yourself. And I think,
Yeah,
like, it's probably, Queen, one of the one episode that we actually should look into,
yeah,
because now I think this also speaks, especially like I mean, like, as much as we're talking about, the victim mentality
yeah,
and all of this, but like, a lot of it, there's an instigation, I think, like that, comes from parents as well, you know. Umntanam, akulinge
yeah,
khande, uye esikolweni, when the kid is wrong and stuff like that. And
yes,
so umntana creates that dependency
yeah,
esakhula.
yeah,
And I think it will be very interesting to actually just empower parents around raising a healthy, broad-minded,
yeah,
empathetic, whole, individual.
yeah.
As,
Right
as,
now, interestingly, Sly, the big debate now in between psychologists also, we're talking about the generation that is not resilient, the generation that we see of kids that are not resilient because of
mm,
what you're saying. Abazali always ready to tap into defense mode, into protective mode, and not understanding that what they're doing is they're disempowering their kids. They're disempowering the young kids. When you are always ready to come in defense for your child, you are not helping them to build the skills they need to build in order to
mm,
survive in life. Because remember, at some point I was a barco, you know and so you want to have the at least as a parent, I would imagine you want to have the comfort of knowing that I've given this child and I've put this child in positions where I've seen them finding solutions for themselves, getting themselves out of a mess, or making a mistake, but
wow,
I've seen them make a mistake and take accountability. And that is what you as a parent, what you are doing is you build resilience in your child. That is
wow,
because you are saying to them, life will happen. Life will happen. And sometimes I just back when life happens. What are you gonna do?
wow. Yeah, we
I
sound like
mean,
parents.
you know what?
Out here, all
You should
passionate.
see, one of the things that I'm learning, by the way, I'm digressing a little bit now, but
Yeah.
the things I'm learning a lot with my swimming journey because I'm learning to swim. And
Mm,
interestingly, so I saw this video. You know how in some cultures where they teach kids to swim, they just throw them down
is it that?
avela ajulwe ephulini. And it is that, and it's so beautiful to see, and this instinct of the child just kicks in, and they just trust, because they know that umzali ukhona pha, so they do the paddling or whatever, and they float and they go towards the end,
Mm,
and then they look at the back and they see the parent. Akakho semanzini umama utata. They had to find the way. So,
mm,
and that's
wow,
what true parenting is about. Is about, at some point you gotta throw your child
to
and
the
and,
world.
and, and trust that they're gonna find a way to swim. They're gonna find a way to swim. But they're also gonna be believing in themselves, knowing that ukhona pha ebhek. That's what helps children to actually build his self-confidence, is knowing that, even if ndindedwa ngoku apha, but at back there's a solid foundation, man. Utata ukhona, man. Umalume ukhona, man. And so
Wow.
that's what really this is all about.
Wow. Queen, thank you so much. Look, I probably knew that, with Urara Engeko, we will
Yeah.
swim deeper,
Mm.
and it's only natural,
Yeah. Yeah.
because you have, the expertise, the
Yeah.
experience, and at least I get a chance to quiz you more about what, our viewers will, probably.
Yeah.
and listeners are probably pondering as well. And this is
Sure.
where I'm going to say once again to the people that are just out there just watching.
Yeah.
It is a podcast where you actually can get help. This is
Yeah.
why we are
Yeah.
here. When we
Yes.
say we are going to a conference, when we say we are going to
Yeah.
whatever's going on, we are going to gather
Yeah.
information that we are going
Yeah.
to come back and disseminate and try to have these conversations with you
Mm.
so that
Mm.
we empower each other, not only as South Africans, because the internet reaches. We could be helping somebody that's out in Brazil right now or
Mm.
out in
Mm.
China who's struggling with a teenager and they don't know how to deal with it, or struggling with road rage, like they
Yeah.
just angry all the time and they don't realize that like they need to put themselves first and actually get themselves. What I got is get yourself out of the situation. Don't define
Yeah.
yourself with where you are. Step
Yeah.
out and say, okay, that is what the issue is.
Yeah.
Quinn, wow,
Yeah.
I'm learning.
I
Yo, I
mean,
feel
if we
smart now.
Jonga, we can even tie this to the issue with your office. No, people got stuck. They literally they got stuck.
Mm,
And of course it's uncomfortable. It was never planned. E-plan Zabo got that disrupted and
mm.
Jay, and they had no control of that situation. But you could see that there were people that defined that situation. They didn't tap into victim mentality. They were just like, okay, silapa ngoku, it's no. They got out of their cars. They started making a snowman, tried to kind of
And those
like
were
play.
beautiful.
We understand, and
Those were
that's
so
the difference
beautiful.
between people who are mentally strong than people who are mentally weak. Like, is that abantu aba mentally weak, you would find they were complaining a lot. Oh, government, what is government doing? We're stuck here, we are hungry. They were not
Mm.
looking at the situation. They were like, okay, so what can we do here? How do we activate a situation that's going to make this quickly? Okay, let's do a video, send the awareness, Basalapa was stuck, you understand? And that
Wow.
is that is what I'm talking about, because the victim mentality is about also a crisis happens now. What do you do? What is your
What do you
approach to it?
do?
Yes, what do you do? Do you
Hmm.
blame Uslai Sobana? Hey, this apa? It's because of Uslai. Or do you look at the situation and be like, okay,
Babe sihambile ngexesha
Uslapa.
elithile. Now, can you
You
imagine,
understand?
Toto?
Yes, yes,
We are here because when I
yes,
Toto uphume 20
yes.
minutes late from from
Ukutheni?
from
Because
from the
yes,
meeting.
you understand?
Oh man.
And where does
Oh
that lead us?
man.
It doesn't lead us anywhere. That's what I'm saying. Victim mentality, what it does is it disempowers you. The more you find other people to blame, the more you find a way to not. The deeper you go into it.
Hmm.
It's just
Wow.
one of those things.
Queen, thank you so much. This is wonderful. People, your comments, you probably will be watching or listening to the podcast elsewhere or another time. Do ask us questions because we go back and we review from episode 1 to where we
Yeah,
are right now.
yeah.
And we are not even close in terms of where we want to be as a
No.
podcast up until you join the conversations, because we are not talking about a pie in the sky or 1,000 bottles of baby oil. Should I say that?
Cut, cut, cut,
You
cut.
see, Ubabis record, cut.
Look,
Why
look, look,
now?
look. We're
Why?
getting some love. I see a comment from Usiko, which is like, man, dikona put kutendani.
Oh man,
Bapen ebony and don't ebonyonti
yeah,
online. Oh,
yeah.
thank you, Siko.
Nkosi kakhulu, Siko. I think it's time for us to move on. And guess what? Ngizakuhlebela,
Yeah.
ne? Remember besithetha ngedombolo and
Yeah.
we're talking about that. I'm gonna share. And in fact, when you see Inset Kasisa, two things are happening.
Mm.
He's not at his place because we had to pre-record so that we can
Yeah. Yeah.
let him go to be with family. And the
Yeah.
second thing is that for the first time in a very long time, he's reviewed new music. And let's
Oh
go to that.
wow.
Let's check it
Oh
out. 3, 2, 1. Man.
Hey yo, hey yo, hey yo, hey yo. How you doing, people? Good evening, good evening. Firstly, I know this is unfamiliar background. Yeah, I invaded the man's place and I'm inside his place to shoot this. So Yeah, I think Anfanela more than himself, you sees with this position right here. Anyway, firstly, let me apologize for not being live this evening. But yeah, I'm not gonna let you down. I'm still gonna give you my reviews and so forth. So don't be scared. Whoo! Guess what? Like if you've been noticing, I've been reviewing a lot of albums celebrating 10 years, 15 years, classic albums. And we're even talking about it, like, like just new music is so hard to come by. Not a lot of new stuff is coming out, and even the stuff that's coming out that's new is not really worth, I think, the quality of what I try and do and try to give to you, my audience. So, whoo! I'm so excited. Talib Kweli and J Rawls. Yep, that's right. Talib Kweli and J Rawls dropped an album on the 13th of September. Album is called The Confidence of Knowing. Now, why this is exciting is because like it's been a while a long minute since I last heard Kweli on some good quality beats. Because Kweli, I mean, you can't doubt Kweli. Kweli is a spitter. Kweli will always deliver when it comes to flow, rapping. He lacks in no way when it comes to the part of MCing and being that heavy hitter, serial, super dope MC. But over time, I think it's been a while since I really last enjoyed a Kweli album. And this was just like such a gift to be given on the 13th of September, this new album. It's 13 tracks, produced by J Rawls. For those who may not know, J Rawls is like an old school producer, I'd say. I mean, he's been in the game a minute. I mean, he even produced Brown Skin Lady from Black Star, so that's how far back their relationship goes with Kweli. And yeah, they just did this project, and it's got some dope features. I mean, there's Blue featuring here, there is Sky Zoo featuring here, there is Razkaz featuring here, and yeah, man, it's the production is jazzy, it's flowy with a bit of boom bap. There are those heavy hitter boom bap tracks. I mean, from track one, the opening, if you opening track is super dope, that's when you know the album's gonna be fire. And I mean, I would literally say it's 13 tracks. I really, really, really do like I'd say 10, 11 of them. And the other two, I wouldn't say I dislike them, but I can skip them. But the rest, I can just let it play, and it moves. Such a refreshing thing, man, for a legend like Kweli to release an album with J Rawls, and it's super dope. I mean, firstly, we're not young, so here's the thing: like, it's not gonna be a ASAP Rocky type sort of album. No. This is strictly Kweli, that native tongue, that reflection eternal, that Black Star Kweli. Yeah, man, it's a dope album. I'm not complaining. Just such a pleasant surprise. Spotify once again delivered. They just decided, give me these new albums, and I'm like, oh wow, Kweli. Okay, let me listen to this, and I'm like, whoa, it's fire. I recommend it. If you're a Kweli fan, if you're a hip hop fan, if you're a more mature, older hip hop fan, I would highly recommend it. It's really dope to see Kweli rapping rather than talking. I don't particularly like this nagging and confrontational and always beefing and talking. I don't even know how to explain Kweli's behavior, man. But he's just like, he always has an opinion, and it's never a positive thing about everybody. It's like a weird thing, and I don't understand. Like, I'm not calling him a bitch or anything like that, but he likes to moan, and he's always confrontational and wants to express his point of view, whether it was asked or not. So it's great to listen to Kweli, that how I know him as an MC, back in the studio making dope beats, rapping dope verses with a super dope producer, J Rawls, man. Oh, thank you. You've given me a glimpse of that old Kweli again. I thank you so much. Look out for, guys, Talib Kweli and J Rawls, The Confidence of Knowing. I'm not gonna rate the album. I'm just gonna say it's dope. And trust me, I listen to dope shit. I know dope shit. Thank you very much. See you next week.
That's Mr. Rara for you. That's Mr. Rara for you. Ladies and gents. Yeah, that's Mr. Rara for you. And obviously, once again, guys, if you have questions, anything that in the form of advice as well, We've made the podcast accessible on Facebook. Yeah, I had to run to the bathroom. That's why I'm breathing heavily. But anyway, we are heading over to the movie review. Very interesting, and I think it's one of I don't even know what to call it, man. I don't even know. Like it's a part of history, and behind this, and very strange because it's part of what we were talking about. We have people who've been role players. There are record labels that were opened. There were opportunities for artists. There were opportunities for marketing people. There were opportunities for promotion people. There were opportunities for people to sell food at stadiums when these artists go and perform, you know, and to look at such legacies and to think, I mean, like going back to the whole P Diddy thing, is that now everything is under scrutiny, so it definitely has to have something that it does to a person. But I hope that yeah, we can take it all in stride. And I think what becomes important as well is that um, that's what I always say. And sometimes when I speak um, to 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 people when I'm invited, I mean, like obviously people look at us as motivation for other people, and so-called celebrities and all. It's not everything that Slicer does that is out of pocket. All right. You will read a book that I will have written at some point or learn about my life and like, wow, did this guy go through like all of this? Did this guy mess up so much? But it's always the positive that you take out of such situations. And I think the Queen will definitely concur with me there, because that positivity is what you need to be drawing out of that thing. And this is something that I learned, like I think from, yeah, my grandmother, you know
Yeah.
mazi umdu, and such values. So those things become important. And I mean, like, given the world in which we live now, Toto, like everything is fast. I mean, like, for people to be sitting here, we need to be wrapping up the episodes because people have stuff to do and their concentration
Yeah.
span over time,
Yeah.
as like,
Yeah.
whoa, it's like goldfish memory, like
Yeah.
yeah, it's very
Yeah. Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
were out and about, and I feel so bad
Yeah.
that with all the tight production that we had, those beautiful pictures. Like, where on earth were you? What were you doing in Durban?
Okay. Just a quick summary of what
Yeah,
has
yeah,
been
yeah, yeah,
happening
yeah,
in
yeah.
my, I'm always like busy, 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 busy. But I was actually this time around just in terms of development, because I always invest in my career development, guys. So I was at a conference, a South African, in fact, Southern African Association of Counseling and Development in, the continent. And just kind
Continent.
of like, yeah, 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 yeah. So it's actually open to the SADC, you know. So Botswana was at the conference, and we are hoping to see Mauritius at some point, and and activating ISM as well, to come back into the association. But it was just people in the space of psychology in higher education, to be specific, coming together, sharing best practices and sharing. Obviously, like you said, we are in the AI space now, and we cannot avoid that, and talking around ethics. How do we do our work, being obviously mindful of the fact that our clients are, they're on the apps. They want,
Yeah, no, 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 no. We
you
know our
understand.
story now.
Yeah, yeah. So it was just a beautiful space to connect with other professionals from all over the country. I'm talking, KZN, UKZN colleagues were there, UCT people were there, VITS people were there, UWC people were there, Northwest, was there. All universities and all TVET colleges that are part of the association came together just to share best practices and also to talk about how do we obviously use AI to advance psychology and the interventions that we are providing. And then, of course, I shot very quickly to DUT as a panel member, and DUT was just so kind. Those colleagues, man, again, I'm just so blessed, Lice, because I'm working with just amazing people. DUT people just said, look, come, we are having a leadership week. And one of the things that I'm passionate about is development of young people. We cannot expect Abandu Abacha to
I
just
know you for
out
that.
of the blue, know it. Someone invested in us, someone guided us, someone shared wisdom with us. And so I think it's very Zautina, it's very out of touch with reality for Tina Bantu ngoku who are in these positions, like who have made it, to think that Abata must just have it. They must mabayazi what to do, I think it's very ignorant of us. And it's also it's very Zautina, it's very against what we are about in terms of guiding, understanding that young people need to be guided, and young people need to have models, good models, because social media has a lot of models that we are not sure about. So so people like you and myself, we need to step up when we are called to speak to young people or show case talent to young people. So this was about that. It was about empowering students who are in leadership at universities, and really empowering them in terms of how do they model good leadership, in the midst of all the unethical leadership that we see in our country, in the midst of all the chaos that is happening, higher up there, even in the structures that lead universities. And that was really another powerful session that I had there. And I met the wonderful dean of students of Stellenbosch
Indeed. Okay.
Choice, who's just a powerful woman that I look up to, who gave a very powerful keynote, but also very, very realistic keynote that young people can connect with and really take home to think about how do they implement and how do they, shape themselves. And again, step out of that victim mentality, step into a role that you've been given and run with it and
Challenge
find
yourself.
challenge yourself, find those lives, so don't sit, find those Tobeka, find those Caesar, people that have been in the game, people that know. And I think that's what also the podcast is about. Like, we are putting ourselves out there, we're saying, hey, talk to us, you need advice, we are here. Uslai, so I mean, is a media guru, guys, and Usi Sangapa also, just another, person that is just kind of being in the
Mm.
game, and then having myself, we are here for your own really benefits, and for us Basukulisane. And yeah, man, it's just been a really, on the development side, it's been yeah, the amazing things that have been happening in my sites now.
Wow. 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 I don't wish I were you. I work from home 24/7. I love being here. If I need to go to the store, I hop on a bicycle. That's how simple my life that's how simple my life is. And I think it also just highlights the fact that, like, I can still be reached. I
Yes.
work from home 24/7, but like I'm still accessible, and I'm still pursuing more
Yeah.
dreams,
Yeah.
and I'm reminded by what you're saying, like under SADC, there's also, if you remember, when we went to the AIDC event, where
Yeah.
we had speakers from the BRICS Council, where we
Yeah.
actually learned in the manner, like, there's actually a passport, but this passport for young people to start their own businesses, to gain
Yes.
more skills, to actually find mentors, not only in South Africa, because you might look at the country and say,
Mm.
yeah, I don't have any role models, but if I were in Brazil, or if I were in China, or if I were
Oh.
in such, the countries within BRICS, I would be in a better off. Like, those opportunities are there,
Yeah, are
you know
they? Are they?
they are there, and that's what we are here for. We are here
Yeah.
to say, listen, if you are trying to get into the automotive space, don't look at a
So.
car as as Indoyo Nkunza and all of that. Do
Mm.
you realize
Mm.
that you can make money from what do they call it, rethreading tires? You can, ngokuhleli
Mm.
ezilalini, have a business.
Mm.
yamatayar. You can,
Yeah.
if wawenze umthungo, you can actually go to these places and say into bana, like, I want to do upholstery for cars. You can do a lot.
Yeah.
And that's what we're here for. And I love that you brought that point up. Lastly, where
Oh.
would we be without this one, Queen? Three, two, one.
Oh yeah, it's that time again when I give you the movie review. Oh, sometimes I grapple with which movie or series to give my people and so forth. This one, it's personal. I'd say it's personal because I'm all about black excellence. I'm all about OGs being involved in the game and so forth. So the reason why I've chosen this movie is purely because of the executive producer. So the movie of this week is a movie called 1992, starring Tyrese Gibson, Scott Eastwood, Clint Eastwood's son, and Ray Liotta actually. And Ray Liotta was actually his last movie that he was on before he passed away. May he rest in eternal peace, Mr. Ray Liotta, Mr. Goodfellas. He actually shot in May 2022 his scenes, even though the movie just came out now. It came out, I think, about 2 weeks ago. Oh, no, sorry, in August. My apology. In August. Movie's called 1992, and the reason why I've chosen this movie is because it is the first movie which is under the banner of Death Row Pictures. Now, Death Row, yes. So what I'm getting at is that Snoop Dogg is doing amazing things since he's bought Death Row Records, and this being their first features film, Death Row Pictures. It's also with Lionsgate, so it's a co-production with regarding the big wigs. It's directed by a guy called Ariel Freeman. He did a movie called The Iceman a few years ago about that serial killer. But anyway, he's not necessarily like the top end of directors. But anyway, he did a great job in this movie. So the premise of the movie being 1992 is, if you remember the LA riots, when those cops gave Rodney King a beat down, and then they were acquitted. And then that same day, shit just got rough in LA. It was crazy. People were ransacking stores. It was they were beating up people. They were just angry because these white guys beat Rodney King, and next thing, they are found not guilty yet. They were caught on camera. You know what I'm saying? So it's a really weird thing that had happened. So anyway, so what happens is that on the day that the verdict came out and they were found not guilty, all hell broke loose. So Tyrese is a single dad. He's got a son who's a teenager, and what I pick up in the story is that he used to be a gangster growing up and everything, and he spent some time in prison. So he's a reformed man now. He's trying to be a good dad and trying to teach his son right from wrong. He works in this factory which builds these catalytic converters, so that it requires platinum. So anyway, so the movie is a heist. So the movie, a thriller, and Scott Eastwood and Ray Liotta, who plays the dad of Scott, they decide to pull this heist on the day of the riots as they start. So they go and break into this old warehouse. Everybody's gone home to steal this whole lot of platinum. So it's an interesting movie. It's a good movie. It's good entertainment. Listen, I'm not gonna say it's a great movie, but it's a good watch. But I'm more inclined and liked it because of the story behind it, regarding Death Row Pictures, and also Tyrese is my man. He delivers, no doubt. And yeah, man, it's a really entertaining, good movie. Keeps you locked in from the beginning all the way till the end, and because you want to know what happens. And So literally, they break into this factory, and then he goes back to the factory that evening with his son. And next thing, it's like a hostage situation while they're busy breaking into this vault and so forth. It's I don't want to give away too much, but it's pretty straightforward. It's a heist movie. It's a thriller, and it's obviously the premises around in 1992 when these actual LA riots happened after the verdict of Rodney King and those four cops. So yeah, man, Snoop, keep doing it. Death Row, I love it. You are really, really, really like, I don't know, man. Not many people go back to where they started and want to own it, and then like want to empower other people. And I mean, recently the Dog Pound released an album under Death Row as well. So Snoop is really, really, really working. I'm loving how he's focused, man. He's about, you know what? I'm not just gonna buy Death Row and just own it. I'm gonna buy Death Row and actually do things. You know, movies, music. So big ups. This one's it's a good one. I'm really, really happy from the whole Death Row story, and Uncle Snoop, who's an executive producer as well of the movie. Yeah, man, that's the movie. Watch it. It's entertainment. It's action. It's a thriller. I would give it a. Oh, jeez, I hate giving reviews. You know, I mean, I hate rating movies, but like I'm always asked to give a rating. I'll give it a 7 out of 10. I mean, it's really good. Would I recommend it? Yes, I'd recommend it. Would I watch it again? Perhaps I'd watch it again. Tyrese delivers, and yeah, man, big ups. Well done, Snoop. Well done, Tyrese. Uh, Ray Liotta, man, the OG's passed. His last film, actually, you know, so crazy seeing him knowing that he actually passed away like about a year or so ago, something like that. But yeah, anyway, do watch it. It's at the cinema, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, do watch it. It's a great movie. 1992. That's the title of the movie. Death Row Pictures. Tyrese Gibson. See y'all next week. Peace.
Oh man, that is it from us, yo peeps. So very interesting, and I think it goes back to. I mean, like, can you imagine now if there's gonna be a scandal around Snoop Dogg? You
Oh,
know, who's done so much, and
yeah.
all of these things. Like, yeah, very
Oh.
interesting.
What I like
Tyree.
about this features like is the fact that you know what we always give our viewers something to look forward to. You know, if they didn't have plans with if family or just their kids
Mm.
and they like their friends as well. It's so nice because Gogo. I'm also just jotting down one. Okay, the weekend I'm sorted for my Sunday movie.
For your movies.
You understand? So
Mm.
I love also how actually the podcast is also encouraging just some family time because movie time is about family. You take your kids to go watch at the cinemas or you just watch at home. Go Netflix or whatever
Mm.
account you have, and hopefully that brings you guys together. Just
You know,
spend time. Yeah. Yeah.
awu kanti uyalithanda ulila Takabani.
Notes. Oh, that was very cool. That was very
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. Thank Queen. Thank you so much. Look, yeah, we are just these three crazy individuals that are just
Look.
passionate. And I think for anybody that is ready, even if it's a young person, but
Yeah.
because of the language quite often, and there's some of the content that we produce, we're not really recommending for well, it's under parental advisory.
Yeah.
But for a young person that says that, like, I need to pick up that, like, that cricket bat and start
Mm,
go
mm,
playing, we are
mm.
here to say that, like, you need to make those mistakes. I remember once
Yeah.
again, I go back to this
Yeah.
event where the CEO of the Tazes,
Mm.
um, when they had the graduation for those students, one of the things that he was really talking about, one of the gents as well affirmed it, saying that, like, we need to allow young people to make mistakes. You said it
Yes.
when you were starting the feature, that
Yeah.
when we are where we are because we were given a chance by somebody who said, I
Yeah.
see something. I was
Yeah.
not perfect when I started on
Yeah.
radio. I always
Yeah.
say to people, I was. pure chance. I used to play house parties, and when the community radio station got started, somebody said, "Hey, I know that guy." They approached me and said, "Like, can you come and play music?" And like, "Oh yeah, I can do that."
Yeah.
And then like, "But can you talk on radio?" I was like, "Huh?" you know. I learned those skills. The opportunity for me to go to school, very crazy. We'll tell that story one day. It was during the times of effects. There's a
Mm,
fax that just came through that says here's an opportunity for you to go and do A, B, C, and D. These are the requirements. This is and there the passion grew from that chance.
yeah.
Of being met, or of playing music and being passionate about music at parties. And now I'm in an establishment that actually has information coming in, and I'm seeing my opportunity,
Yeah.
fax with my name written on it. And that's where I mean, like, after all of these years. But anyway, well, you know what Usisa said?
Yeah.
Usisa said we
Undivimbe,
have,
undivimbe, undivimbe, usisa. In fact, both of you guys, Nina, nindivimba ulusu.
well,
And oh, you know what? We are gonna have a chat about this. You know what? Viewers that need to know this because I'm suffering up.
I'm
Kuphekwe
suffering.
amanzi. Uyandiva? Kuphekwe isonka samanzi, kuphekwe ulusu, kuthunyelwe iifotos kuthiwa ndizawutya virtual. Guys, what is this?
Oh, okay. That was. Hey, I talk a lot of
When I'm
things,
talking
guys.
about Pakalis Captain, I was just promised that he was going to
He
bring
brought it when
you.
we were doing when we were doing the
Oh,
shoot.
oh, man.
So you're for Jackson one glasses a month
Please, please,
for
please, please.
something.
Yeah, yeah.
Quinn, thank you so much.
Oh,
It's been wonderful
it's
as
been
as
a
as
great.
always.
Thank you.
I can't wait for us, and I'm not sure to our viewers, it will probably be our 20th
Yeah.
episode or 30th episode that we will be under one roof, the three of us,
Yes. Oh,
and
I look forward
that's
to
gonna
that.
that's gonna be crazy.
That will be crazy. That will be crazy. But you know what? Yeah, I'm just every time I come and sit here and think of our viewers and think about, just the information that we're sharing and also just the stories that we're telling, like you said earlier on, we're just bringing authenticity. We're not coming in, to try and pretend,
To be
but
relevant.
coming in with what we know and we're putting it out there, really having conversations, true conversations, and just sharing, the knowledges that we have accumulated over the years in our
Hmm.
careers and in our personal lives, and just having a chat, man. Three strangers come together to talk, and it works, guys.
It
Look,
works. It's a book.
look, that's it.
It's
That's
a, it's
it.
a, it's a, it's an ebook.
Yeah,
It's an audio visual book.
yeah,
You write as an author and you finish your story and you close your book and you're hoping that somebody will read it. Because
yeah,
another thing that we are not too crazy about is like, yeah, we need to have, be feeling dejected because
yes.
you have three viewers this weekend.
Yeah,
You have like
no,
thinking, no,
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 no, no,
yeah.
no.
Quinn,
And
thank you
and I
so
think
much.
that's the
What's up
thing.
for the
That's
weekend? Yeah.
yeah,
Uh-huh. You were
beautiful,
saying something?
beautiful. No, no, no. I was just going to say that's the thing about authenticity is also that you don't actually focus on izinto ezingabalulekanga because at the end of the
Mm.
day, it is about knowing. I mean, see, sinabantu that are going to see this when we have even forgotten about other episodes, and they will find meaning into it. And I always say, ubomi also, it's not about the moment all the time. Sometimes it's about the future, man.
Mm. Mm.
Who's gonna come and appreciate this session long, long when we have forgotten about it, and that's what it's about.
Wow. The first lady, ladies and gentlemen, she is a qualified counseling a psychologist. She crisscrosses the country all the time. She's a budding swimmer. She tries to be a dancer as well. So hopefully, with all the festivals and all the stuff that is going to be happening. Oh, by the way, Campscape. Remember, we have a date with Lesotho. In the next episode, we actually are going to have them come through to the studio, and we're going
Ooh,
to have a conversation with them about it. And another one is that there's a very big event that takes place annually around the automotive space.
sure.
We're going to be speaking to CEOs from various entities around the automotive space. I'm super chuffed about it. I'm excited about it. And yeah, it will also be a celebration of 100 years of the automotive industry in South Africa. And that is going to happen in Cape Town. Who knows? Maybe all three of us might be there.
Oh, man, I love the work that you guys do, putting it out there. And I mean, again, models. This is what we want our young people to have access to, and so irresponsibility here to put it out there, and let them have access to it. And the nice thing is, internet is, like you said, is just easily accessible. And so even someone who didn't even know about what you're talking about when it comes to the automotive industry, now they know. Now they can go and just do some searches and find out more information. How do they get
Yeah.
involved, and all of that. And I think I love that about our podcast, just being real about issues that really matter.
Yeah.
That's it, people.
Queen,
That's
thank you
us.
so much.
Thank you, Sly.
All right, man. That is it. Inkosi Kakulu.